All right, we should be all good to go. Hello, guys, coming home or coming live from the prison execution room. Oh my gosh, there's some boxes there. We're slowly getting everything moved in here. For those of you joining us, I'll be looking at chat on my phone here. When I'm at the house, not my apartment today, so we'll be working with one screen talking about the Monday Night Football game that we are dealing with tonight. Let's go ahead and just look at some stuff and goof around and see what all we want to do. We're an hour away from walk, and actives have come out, so we can go ahead and start building. Now, this is I think this is going to be a pretty fun slate. Make sure this is, all right, so I think this is going to be a pretty fun slate because there's a lot of things that can go on here. Now, I haven't updated lines yet. All these are my dummy lines, so I have no intention on playing what is being seen here at the moment. But I want to go ahead and look through everything. As stated, if you guys haven't seen, I took down. All right, hold on. We're almost done coughing. I feel way better. But I have the optimal for the afternoon slate on Sunday. I think we tied with like 25 something people for first. So instead of 100K, I think it was like 8,600 or whatever. But so I'm playing, I'm back to playing because I plan on taking off a bit, but stuff just keeps pulling me back in. When I look at this slate and the people I want to target specifically, CeeDee Lamb, Pickens, Ferguson. Now I've gone back and forth on games like this on how I want to approach and target and how I want to build and stuff like that. What's going on, Pope? Usually I like playing captains and stuff that are coming from a team that is losing, okay? Because they're coming from behind, they are incentivized to throw more, they have to purposely be more explosive. We went down this same rabbit hole, I don't remember how many weeks ago. I feel like it was like 2 or something with Vegas was on some primetime game, and they were absolutely horrible. Tucker had won me quite a lot of money earlier in the year, so I was very, happy to use Tucker and Bowers as my guys. And Geno Smith was and has been completely atrocious. Obviously, we're game logging here. I'm pretty sure it may have been the Tennessee, or it was one of these guys here that he was on a prep. It could have been against Denver. I don't know. I don't exactly remember. But I'm pretty certain that I don't want to play the Vegas side of this from a captain perspective. Okay, now I'm really hesitant there because Bowers is so cheap as a captain. Okay, so let's go ahead and wander through. And again, I'm going into this much detail because when Sheets comes back and everything will be moved behind the paywall entirely. So if you're not a subscriber to the website, you're not going to get access to any videos of anything of that sort. But I want to go and look at where ownership is coming in at for these guys. Now, it's looking to be spread out anyway. I'm going to run 54 lines in 3 or so contests and stuff. But I don't know. I'm about Las Vegas side. Obviously, dummy lines usually refer or go to where I maybe not even go, but I mean, earlier in the day, Brock Bowers and CeeDee Lamb were the 2 captains I wanted to use. We're looking at, and I'm going to go ahead and I am going to use Saber some stuff for this right now, just because it is live updated and stuff. It's looking like captain is going to be pretty spread out. So with Brock Bowers being the most, Jentney, Williams, CeeDee Lamb, dude, I don't know what it is. I just have a feeling that Brock is either gonna, blow the slate apart and be the needed captain, or he's just not. I just don't know if we need to do that. I know 18, 20% of the captain isn't that much in relative. He's still going to be the highest owned. He offers a lot of. I just deleted the. Actually, I could look here because it's on these. He offers a lot of lineup construction viability. With how cheap he is. Let's go ahead and look at these lineups that I had earlier today. We just not showing anything over here. Fuck it, we'll just look at the stupid ones over here. Because I'm not going to be playing these. But when we look, yet again, this is understanding what the field is doing, what you're doing, and so on and so forth. When we look at the Brock Bauer lineups, and you look at everything that you're able to do here, leaving 600 on the table, Bowers, Lamb, Prescott, Williams, Lockett, Tolbert. I mean, this is a really good lineup, right? 4 Dallas guys, 2 Vegas guys, but good projections across the board for these. I've been thinking about this on and off today, and there's just like real. You got Mayer here, you got Geno Smith here. I mean, these are good lines. These are lineups that we are going to be playing directly against, and that you are most likely playing. I mean, yet again, these are dummy lineups that I entered into contests earlier in the day, but these are still going to be very viable lineups. These are still going to be lineups that are going to be competing. Let me get the chat up here. These are going to be lineups that you are having to compete against tonight. And I just think that the Bauer lineups are going to probably be not over-owned, but, I think there's going to be a lot of trains with them. And, dude, I just don't like it. Oops. For reference, I'm playing the 5, 10, and 20. Only doing 54 lineups in those. But I just I mean, this is a strong lineup, right? And so this, for example, right? Why we build stuff certainly like this to try and limit the amount of duplications and stuff that you potentially have in lineups, right? There's a Brock Bowers captain with Lamb and the Cowboys defense, which goes directly against the Las Vegas stack of your lineup. Like this one is a really, really good lineup, right? But I got to it earlier in the day. There's probably gonna be people getting to very similar stuff here, trying to get different with the Brock Bowers stuff. And it's a situation to where Brock is so cheap at $8,000. He's being hyped up so much. You like Williams last night. Williams happened to be the guy who scored well, but Williams wasn't highly owned. He was only 33% owned, and I think like 4% the captain or whatever. And those you can find viability in those because those guys are cheap. You can fit people in. You don't have to deal with having the highest owned captain. You don't have to deal with trying to get unique in that sense, because typically if you're playing a cheaper captain, it's to fit in all the expensive guys, right? So as my day has gone through, and we look at these lineups, I mean, this situation where we're leaving 1,400 on the table, still very, very strong lineups, Bowers, Lamb, Williams, Tucker. I mean, this is another good lineup. It's only 1,400. I'm really, really, really concerned with the uniqueness aspect of using a Brock Bowers line tonight. And I think I'm not going to go I think I'm not going to play Bowers in the captain for my stuff due to those reasons listed. Let's see what else is being said here. I think I don't put in any rules to limit pass catchers or max pass catchers or anything like that. I don't feel like I just don't. I think you limit yourself too much on doing those rules. I don't really run rules on my builds, especially for this one, right? Now, oddly enough, I think if you were playing Bowers and captain, I think you should be overweight to Vegas in those lineups. Um, we look back at other slates recently. I think I did a show with Sheets a couple weeks ago and stuff. Maybe in Miami, where Miami was a big underdog, or somebody was an underdog, and like just from the DFS perspective, you should just overstack them. Nobody's gonna own them or whatever. I think tonight, if you're playing Bowers, you probably want a very high amount of Las Vegas guys in those lineups. And if I was doing that, that's probably where I would go. I'd probably want to be very Vegas heavy tonight. As the day has gone on, I'm more and more concerned about the Las Vegas side of this stuff. So I think for what I'm going to do, based on salary and stuff, or not even salary, but based on kind of what I want to do, I think I'm just going to play the Dallas side of this game across the board. I think people are potentially getting too cute and not using the Dallas guys enough in the captain position. Now, I normally don't like using 3 captains, and I'm only running 54 lineups. So, less than 20 per person if you split it evenly here. I like CeeDee Lamb. I feel like nobody is going to own Pickens because of Dallas and everything over there. And same thing with, like, you're telling me I'm getting Jake Ferguson at like nearly no ownership at all. That's pretty nuts, dude. So I think what I'm going to do is I think I'm just going to roll with the Dallas guys and understand that probably whatever percentage is being used on the 2 pass catchers that aren't going to score well, I'm just going to throw those away. And hopefully, I can build an optimal lineup with whatever one of these Dallas guys ends up being a good play if he is a good play. Just because I think everybody's going to be using that Bowers and Genty and stuff like that. I'm hoping because of this, hopefully I could end up being a bit overweight to the Dallas side. Now, I also don't want the Raiders side. It was so funny because not even funny. We look back at my exposures earlier, right? And since I don't use defense as a captain, I have 9% I had 9% Dallas defense earlier in the day. I really feel like they are a good play, and let's see what they're being owned at now. Let's see. Yeah, they're still at 15. Like that. That's kind of crazy. 15% Dallas defense against Geno Smith and how terrible he's been. I think I'm just gonna be pretty heavy on the Dallas side today, man. I really really do think that. I even because I've done this before. I want minimum exposure to Prescott, and it's probably gonna bump me up even more. Let's see if Goldie has his projections updated yet. Pope's in here, 12 other people are here. If you guys have any questions or anything, feel free to type them in. Let me see. Okay, so Goldie does have his projections up. So I'm going to go ahead and run with his stuff here. So I'm going to refresh this to make sure it pulls correctly. Okay, so secondly, as I go through this, you see the 540 in the entryway. Since I'm running less lines at the moment, I want to go back to 154 for Thanksgiving and stuff for all 3 of those games and that slate and stuff. That's probably gonna be like fucking 12 or whatever, 12 grand. I really don't want to be spreading out my stuff too much in terms of some people play like this, some people don't. Ideally, you probably want to spread lineups out between contests and have them catered to stuff. Okay, just the way I build and what I found and stuff is I don't think I really need to. I typically sim it for a contest that I find I've had more success in. For MMA, that's been the $8 one. So if I'm running lineups in the main GPP, I typically sim it with the $8 contest. Same thing here. I'm using the $10 contest, and I'm just taking those lineups and entering it on the Google Doc sheet here. I just copy and enter all the lineups in those here. But I think I want to be overweight on Dallas Day. Let's make sure. Yeah, that's at 60. So let's go ahead and rock and roll. We'll do 49.8. And I think that's what I'm gonna roll with, man. This is the most I've talked all day, so I apologize for all the muting and coughing and stuff. I mean, I think that's mainly it. Just they're going over and looking at how I think the field is going to play. Like I said, I'm kind of. I don't mind if I get Brock in the flex. I really don't give a shit what I end up getting him there. I just don't feel like him and the captain is the way to go. I don't like playing a cheaper captain when everybody else is doing it, unless it's like a slam dunk play, right? But even if he's 20, 22, 23% owned, he's still the highest owned captain. I mean that's a lot of risk and potential duplications here. So I would advise, and you see what I'm doing here, I would advise to not play Brock in the captain. Just take that shot and play Dallas heavy. I think there's people kind of getting too cute with the Brock lines, and I know you mentioned only two guys from the Raiders that you're interested in, but I got I'm actually really worried about this game being a blowout on the Dallas side. Maybe I want to play Williams. I'm going to see what this looks like, and if I feel like Williams is being pushed a lot in the flex, I might end up running Williams as a captain as well. I'm kind of getting back to, not back, but I started the year very aggressive, just doing wide receivers. I think now that we're deep in the season, we're week 10 or 11 or whatever. I think that's probably when I want to start including running backs in my captain because they have been established and stuff, or at least Williams in this sense. So I think I might rerun this with Williams as a captain over possibly Ferguson here. See if there's any other stuff. No, not at all. So let me go ahead and X out of this here. I think I'm going to end the stream there as soon as this kind of ends up loading, and I'll decide. I'll wait till this ends, but then I'm going to decide if I want to use Williams as a captain here because he's also not being owned much in the flex, only 33% in the flex. So you don't really need that much to get overweight on him in a captain perspective. So another thing too, could be right, could be wrong. I mean, Dan Campbell did like nothing last night, right? But if there's just good plays on a slate that aren't being owned, what if you just play them, So like Williams isn't being played here. Obviously Prescott, Brock Bowers is back there. Okay, so yeah, 80% Brock Bowers. That's problematic. That's really showing he should be in the captain. I really don't like that. 67% Geno. Javonte is the highest Dallas guy. Well, let's see where these guys are at here. Huge about a CeeDee Lamb. See, so that's what the initial run of the Sims ran. Not saying that's wrong. Not saying, I mean, these Sims and tools are designed to optimize your play. But I feel like I would want more exposure to these other two guys. I also want less exposure. If I'm fading, you can also look at this the other way. I mean, this showing Brock Bowers is a great play. When you run stuff and you see somebody in your exposure rates this high up, it probably indicates he's a good play, and you probably want to play him both in the flex and in the captain, right? Because I'm not going that direction. I think I'm going to manually lower Brock's exposure off stream. I think I'm going to throw in Javonte into the captain pool and cap CeeDee Lamb closer to 25. Closer to 25% in the captain here for my player pool and stuff. Let's see if there's any other comments. I don't see any. But that's what I'm doing for the tournaments tonight. So thank you guys for being here. I will see you guys later. And yeah, peace. Thanks for joining and listening to me talking about what I'm doing tonight. I'll see you guys later. Thank you. Bye bye.